Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of ZB's Horsepower Talk. As always, I'm ZB, Zack Brown. Join with me, like always, Jeff Brown is with me today. Dad, 1 week to go. We are in championship week with NASCAR and World of Outlaws. I got the Outlaw trophy behind me. You've got the Cup trophy behind you. But let's wrap up and talk about all the exciting action that happened at Martinsville. And NHRA has one more race left, and that is next week. We'll talk about it then. A lot of stuff shaking up in that series as well.
Yeah, if you watch, there was no sprint car racing, no dirt racing, so the only thing we really got is the races at Martinsville. And if you watch the Xfinity race, well, you really only need to watch the last 10, 20 laps, but holy crap. Thinking Justin Allgaier's done, out of the talk. He's not going to make it. He's on old tires, isn't going to make it. Then all of a sudden the crashes start happening, and they start wrecking, and he gets a restart, and he keeps moving up a spot. Then we get to the last lap between Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill, RCR teammates. Sheldon Creed moves him up the track a little bit. Austin Hill didn't really like that, and then I think the 00 Cole Custer kind of gets in there, bumps and bangs a little bit. Those two get out of the way, and here comes Justin Allgaier out of nowhere, beating and banging down the front stretch, and wins by what, a foot, maybe something like that, going across the line.
Yeah, it was one of the best Xfinity finishes of the year. The longest Xfinity race I think I have ever seen, and I think it was actually
it might
have been longer than the actual Cup race. How long it lasted after just wreck after wreck. I think they had 15 cautions, which obviously there's 2 for stage breaks. But yeah, it was just a wreck fest at the end, and everybody. The biggest story is basically Sheldon Creed is a piece of shit. He just needs to never race ever again because he's just the worst driver ever, according to Richard Childress. And I'm about tired of people saying that. Listen, he's going for a championship. Austin Hill didn't have to race him that hard. All of Austin Hill had to do was just let Sheldon Creed pass, and they both would have made the championship for. So it's as much as Austin Hill as it is with Sheldon Creed. But obviously there has been some disconnect with Sheldon Creed and Richard Childress throughout the year, why he doesn't get a ride. So obviously Childress was not a fan of Sheldon anyways. But he had it won. I think he just messed up that corner exit on 4, and that gave that opening to Justin Allgaier able to beat and bang and get that win. But I don't think Sheldon did anything wrong. There's a lot of talk about him. Nothing was dirty. He could have just completely spun him out, but he never did. And he gave as much opportunity to Austin Hill as he could have had. So for anybody that's trying to defend Austin Hill and say Sheldon Creed sucks and all that stuff, that kind of pisses me off because Sheldon Creed, he raced a hell of a race and came down to the finish.
Yeah, I agree completely. Now, if that was on lap 50 doing that, yeah, completely uncalled for. 2 laps to go or whatever it was, and they started beating and banging. I mean, come on, you're going for the race win. And here's the thing. They had, a 30-minute red flag where they're trying to clean up all that shit. The TV broadcast knew that if Sheldon Creed won the race and Austin Hill ran second, they would both be in the championship, more than likely.
They knew it.
Yeah, so there's no way that RCR team did not know that because they're watching the broadcast, especially under a red flag. They're watching what's going on as well. So I think Sheldon Creed's kind of got the wrong deal, and I think Richard Childress was a big ass for saying what he did. Even if he was warranted in saying that, you don't say that about your team. He's still your driver. If I was Sheldon Creed, I'd show up to Phoenix. I'd go out the first lap. I'd blow that son of a bitch sky high, pull that thing in, and start drinking beer.
He might not even be allowed to race it at Phoenix. I haven't seen anything yet.
I wouldn't want to go.
He's replacing Sammy Smith in that 18 car next year in the Xfinity Series too. So he's might
going to a better car.
Well, that, and he might race pissed off now. He might race in the 20 car. I don't know. Either John Hunter or Sammy Smith, either one, they're both going to be open spots next year. So either one would be a solid team to go to. But yeah, so obviously all that drama, but kind of the thing that gets kind of put in the back burner is that Justin Allgaier's racing for a championship again. Yeah. And I listened to the radio traffic and I've reposted it on my TikTok and stuff. just the amount of excitement that team had, they couldn't believe it either. And again, that's probably the fan favorite in
I would think so.
in that series. And I mean, he's just such a humble driver, and he shotgunned a Yoo-hoo, if anybody saw that after the race. So that was pretty hilarious. But great job for him. Now you got 2 junior motorsports in the Final Four. You got Sam Mayer and Justin Allgaier. Of course, John Hunter made it as well. And who was that 4th one?
Cole Custer?
Cole Custer, yeah. No, yeah. Dadgummit. You would have thought I was prepared for that. And I thought I had it. It might be Cole. Yeah, Cole Custer. Yep.
I thought it was.
Yeah. So, I mean, the biggest shocker, obviously, is Sam Mayer. I think I had the other 3 in the Final Four. I just had Austin Hill in there as well. But, yeah, I think that'll be.
I think I actually had Sam in there.
Yeah.
I have to look at my notes.
Dick. No, but, I mean, what an exciting race that was. And then Cup race, it had its ups and downs. It was a better package, but I think mainly the reason that the Cup race was better than it has been on short tracks is the tire they brought. The tire had laid down a lot more rubber than it's used to doing than the other tires would. Made the cars a lot harder to handle. The drivers had to actually drive them. You actually had to have a little bit of strategy when it comes to tires at Martinsville this time, and it made for a lot more excitement. But it really was a pretty much a clear-cut winner the whole time, and it was Ryan Blaney.
Yeah.
Fast car that I didn't really expect Ryan to go in there and win, and that team is hot at the right time. And
for sure, a lot like last year with Joey Logano.
Yep, and that team, obviously, they're going to put all those resources into Phoenix, and Joey Logano knows how to get around Phoenix, so he's definitely going to be giving tips to Blaney for that too. I don't see any reason why to think that Ryan Blaney isn't the favorite going into Phoenix.
I'd say right now he's got the momentum, but I'm glad to see NASCAR and Goodyear change things up a little bit. And this is one of the first times I think I saw anybody actually able to do passes on the outside in that race. Ryan Blaney, they were like, "You're not going to get on the bottom." He's like, "Screw it, I'm just going to pass you on the outside."
Yeah.
And there was nothing they could do about it. He got alongside of him, then you got that momentum coming off. You never used to pass on the outside at Martinsville. So,
yeah,
like the Xfinity cars could not do that with that smaller tire and everything that they have.
And that's a reason why Xfinity had a lot more crashes than the Cup Series. The Cup Series there weren't a lot of crashes.
You gotta have 2 lanes if you want to have
Yeah, there weren't a whole lot of crashes in the Cup race. It was overall a very clean race.
That just shows you how good those drivers are.
Yeah, and some of the smackaronis in the back too. You expect them to crash a little bit, but I mean they still know how to get around those tracks. And I think especially Martinsville, there's a lot of drivers that are coming up from like late models these days. So yeah, for a little while it was kind of worrisome for anybody that's a Hendrick Motorsports fan. William Byron didn't look like he was going to make it, and Denny Hamlin was in the lead in the beginning, and through the middle of the race, he was running pretty well. He didn't really fall off. He got 3rd, but when a different driver wins, Ryan Blaney wins, and all Byron had to do was finish 18th or better, and he did.
Yeah, at one point, William Byron said something about the only way this car's going to get better if we replace all 4 shocks and springs in this thing. So
yeah, it's very shocking that they did not have a car to even contend for a top 10, let alone a win.
No Chevys were actually really all that fast. At one point, the highest Chevy was like Daniel Suarez in like 17th, and
Larson ended up 6th. I mean, they had a good, comfortable day. Nobody really talked about it, and obviously that's great momentum going in to Phoenix. But like I said, I don't know if there's not a clear-cut favorite with Ryan Blaney at this point, and you could see how you can't tell me Ryan Blaney probably isn't the most popular driver at this point of the year now. How much of a roar that crowd gave him.
Yeah, he's the only Ford driver I'll cheer for. I like Ryan Blaney. He just seems like he's generally a nice guy.
Yeah, that, and especially the background you have with his uncle and his dad. So, honestly, for the Final Four, I wouldn't really be too mad about any of the drivers that won. I've had ups and downs with like Christopher Bell and opinions about him, but he's still a dirt racer, so that would be like pretty cool.
Yeah.
Only one person can repeat though, as a
we only
two-time
have one former champion. So does that give that team a slight edge, having been there and won that race before?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll preview it here in a second, but let's talk about the drag racing that happened this past weekend. Really good races is all I can say. It was very cool at Las Vegas, kind of threw everybody for a loop, but there were a lot of fast runs that happened.
Yeah, we were talking about, we were wondering, because like just in Phoenix for the baseball games, they were saying it was like 103 degrees. I'm like, well, Vegas is not that far away. I know the elevation's higher, but it was, it was like 70 couple degrees with a 70-degree track temperature. So those things were hooked up. But the one that surprised me the most was the Pro Stock motorcycles. I thought the top, being that the air was so cool and so good there, the top speed was actually I'm going to say slow at under 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, still pretty quick.
But I don't know exactly why they were slower. Maybe it's just maybe the altitude did affect it that much as well. Maybe just that could be some of it, because they kind of ran like they do like in Denver at some point. But the top fuel guys were saying they were adding thicker head gaskets to reduce compression just a little bit because the air was so good.
Yeah, well, obviously, let's go through it. Gage Herrera beats his teammate and car owner Eddie Krawick. So Eddie Krawick gives Gage another week to have to officially claim that title. Unless Gage doesn't show up to Pomona, he will be crowned the champion in Pomona, which Eddie was like, that's Gage's home track. That's still pretty cool that it would happen there. Because you can earn 190 points maximum if you get everything perfect and everything goes wrong for that other rider. And that's in all the series. You can get 190 points in the finale.
Yeah, I think Gage is 181 or 181 ahead. So
basically,
better set fast time, everything, and
if he gets fast time, it's over. It's 15 points for fast time. So once he does that, he'll be crowned the champion. So that's inevitable coming up. Just amazing how consistent and just really mistake-free overall they've been. They had like 2 or 3 races they made, and mainly it was him that made a quick small mistake, and that was it. Otherwise, it hasn't really been a year. And it could completely change next year. Could be a whole different story going into next year. You might see him not even make the cutoff. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, usually in that Pro Stock motorcycle, they'll take the fast bike or whatever, then they'll make them put some extra weight on or something just to try and even the playing field out. But the one thing that was really, really surprising, like, shout out to Gianna Evaristo in that semifinal round against Krawick. She had him on the start.
She did everything she could.
Her bike only ran 192 miles an hour, and he went 197. I mean, the performance on that one.
She was so close to getting a whole shot in that too.
Yeah, and she smoked him on the line for sure.
Yeah, she did everything right.
It just didn't have the performance.
Well, that getting into the semis has elevated her into the top 5, which we expected her to get top 5 after Angie obviously going up for the year. So that's, again, it's a huge year for her. A big learning year to go into next year, and likely she could knock off some wins next year, getting this momentum going towards the end of the year. She's going to go to her kind of her home track. It's California track next week, so could be big for her.
Shout out to Angie Smith for coming back and qualifying that bike just to get the qualifying points or whatever. She didn't actually compete around, but she did qualify that thing.
Yeah,
there was a shot of her walking around, and she was in like
her boots,
looked like ski boots.
Yeah. It's gonna be a sucky recovery, but luckily it's just really I don't think there's anything torn, like ligaments. That's harder to really repair than bones. So she should be back up and running no time and be ready to go for the next season. But another series where a driver has extended the lead in the point standings was the Pro Stocks. And it was the top 2 in points. It was Erica versus Greg Anderson. And Greg had a very good semifinal going in, and like he looks like he could win.
Yeah.
Well, something happened. He smoked it at the start. He shut it off right away. Erica goes and pretty much cruises to a win.
Her 10th win there, by the way.
Yeah, she's dominant at Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And again, that's one thing with her. Unless something catastrophic really happens, if she basically goes out round one and Greg Anderson wins the whole thing, she should get the title this year.
Yeah, and if you remember, beginning of the year, she couldn't find her way out of the first round if she paid somebody. It was really bad, had the performance, but they kept working at it, and whatever they found or did, definitely has worked. And she's been the fastest car for the last 6 weeks or so.
It was really after the first Charlotte race, I would say, was when she started getting it going. I don't remember where they raced after that, but I think it was about then is when she got it rolling and got into a more consistent season and set her up to win this championship again. And Jeg Coughlin actually made a surprise appearance.
I was just getting ready to say we had a surprise appearance from Jeg. Which
he had a very good shot to make the finals, too. So.
Which they said something about that's the car she's going to be running for next year. So I don't know if it was something he was shaking down for him or...
Yeah, I don't know if he was filling in for Troy Coughlin or I don't know what happened exactly, but just to basically come out of almost retirement and just run almost into the finals, very impressive.
Yeah, like he never missed a race. He was quick on the tree and the whole deal.
Well, how about this one? This is where it's getting really interesting.
This is getting real
funny
tight,
car
man.
and Top Fuel. This is what drag racing is all about. The top three in funny car are separated by 17 points.
Yeah, that's one round.
That is insane. It came down to Matt Hagan, Bob Tasca in the finals, and basically who won that?
1.5. But it is 1.5 points at Pomona. So
and then Robert Hight winning that whole entire thing because Robert Hight beat Tasca in the finals.
Yeah.
And then Matt Hagan lost in the semifinals, so they all had a bunch of points. So Robert Hight getting that win, elevating him to only 17 points behind the leader now. I don't even know who could win this one now. It is that's it. I don't. Again, Ron Capps 139 out.
He's out. It's those three.
Those three right there. I think a lot of people beginning of the year would say, "Hey, probably Matt Hagan, Robert Hight, probably going to run for the championship." I don't know if a lot of people had Bob Tasca this year. He's been kind of very under the radar this year. I would say. I mean, he's one of the best racers.
He hired Aaron Brooks, who is a really good tuner.
Yeah,
and you could see that definitely improved that program quite a bit.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting going forward. Again, we're not going to preview any of Pomona until next week because that's going to be all we have to preview because we are ending racing season here. So kind of sad, but we also at least have football season to get us through until late January, early February. But let's go into Top Fuel real quick and talk about that. Steve Torrance has a very narrow lead over Doug Coletta, but the big news of the week was Mike Salinas getting his second win of the year. No one really expected that. That's kind of going under the radar, but he was fastest all weekend, fast time. He put himself in position where he could win the championship. He's 76 points behind. It's a little bit of a gap.
He's going to need a little help.
Doable.
Yeah, he needs a little help.
If he goes out and wins and say Steve and Coletta get out the first round, and I mean he could do it.
Yeah, but like I said, 1.5 points, you can knock some chunks out pretty quick. So you're getting 30 points per round instead of 20.
Yeah. So that one's going to be what's really interesting. Really, anybody in the top 5 could potentially win at Pomona. After that, that's pretty much it. But it's going to be good. If anybody gets a chance to, there won't really be any racing on besides this. So you want to check out the Pomona finals next week, and we will definitely dive into it when it gets closer.
If you never watched drag racing, some of the racing part's good. A lot of times they extend it out and have a little too much filler. It's like I'd rather just see them line them up and go. I know sometimes they try to go to get to the live final round, so you got to screw around on this and that. But a lot of times, like you're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. It's like, okay, come on, I'm gonna turn on a football game now. All of a sudden, then you forget what's going on. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I think drag racing needs to be like a 2-hour show instead of 3.
Yeah, they could really make it work if they could honestly, if they work some things out logistically, they could definitely do a live semi and final all in one. And
but
then
you get one little thing where somebody puts some liquid down, and all of a sudden there's an hour delayed right there cleaning the track.
Well, I mean, we just saw in the Xfinity race, though. I mean, you can't really control all that stuff. I mean, a 250-mile Xfinity or 250-lap Xfinity race, not even 250-mile, ended up being 3.5 hours. So again, you never know, but yeah, that's definitely, and I think they could do a lot better at just broadcast, like just advertising. And damn, you don't even know stuff's happening half the time.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's on the regular Fox network.
But that's the difference between drag racing and NASCAR. NASCAR, they'll advertise the hell out of it on TV, but there will be nobody in the stand. Now, drag racing, it'll be a sellout every damn week there. Yeah. So that's the difference. And drag racing does a great job at on-track fan experiences. So
for sure,
if they got to sacrifice a little bit of TV thing, I'm good with that because you don't really get that experience anywhere else.
Yeah.
All right, enough for the soapbox of the drag racing and going over everything. Let's look ahead, starting off with what's happening Wednesday night, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now, it's World of Outlaws at Charlotte. It is the World Finals. Now, what Wednesday is the qualifying night. They do the qualifying for the Thursday and Friday events. So obviously,
just time trial, and we're only talking about the sprint cars. We're not talking about the sprint.
I don't do all the other stuff. I don't do the flying dumpsters or anything. Sorry. But yeah, well, mainly we don't know shit about that stuff. So
exactly.
No, but it comes down to this: 50 points is the gap between Brad Sweet and David Gravel. So that first night, that Wednesday night, no matter which night you end up, I guess, drawing to race, whatever your first night would be, that's going to be important to set that qualifying run and set up your entire week.
Yeah, and the dirt track in Charlotte, it usually starts off pretty fast, but it can get slick quick. So if you get a bad pill draw, you could be behind the 8 ball right off the bat. Just, say, Gravel goes out early, has a good time, and Sweet pulls the late draw, and all of a sudden, the track's a second slower. Now they do split up the groups a little bit, so that does help some, but it can still put you behind a little bit in that heat race, and it's Sweet's championship to lose. He normally doesn't have too much trouble, but the last race he did get that thing upside down, and they did a hell of a job of putting it back together to salvage the points they did.
I watched that replay a couple times. You don't see a completely destroyed race car get fixed like that in an open red.
Yeah, it was an open red, so a lot of times the Outlaws, the other teams will, they'll have everybody jump in and start putting parts together. And it was just they were busy working on their own cars, so it was.
I think they had Casey's crew help them out, obviously. So they put a whole new front end, a whole wing, and I think a new front wing too. I mean, everything.
Yeah, it's amazing how fast those.
And then he goes and makes his way into the top 10, or was making his way into the top 10, gets a flat, and then has to do that all over again, and still ends up 7th. So. But what I've seen in the last couple of years, I've been at Charlotte because compliments of what I do for a living. Everybody pretty much will run that high line at the very last night. But if that one person can run that bottom line, you are setting yourself apart. And what I've seen the last couple of years, Donnie Schatz started pretty much dead last, and he was the only one that could run the bottom. It was last year. And he nearly won that damn thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, there's nobody that's going to run the bottom like him. I mean, that's just, that's just one of the things, you're getting the older driver now where they learn that keeping the car straight and everything sometimes around the bottom is the fast way to go. You know, there's guys, you just get older, you're just not as ballsy on the top.
Now,
But the one thing, there is going to be a ton of sprint cars there. There's a whole shit pile of Pennsylvania cars coming down.
I think they usually have between 60 and 70.
I would think so.
It's close. It's not as much, but it's pretty close to the amount of like Knoxville National cars they have.
Yeah, I'm going to say most of the good Pennsylvania cars are going to be running down there.
Yeah, you got Lance DeWeese running that 12 car. I can't remember the team. The team exactly.
Dietrich will be down. Devin Borden's coming down. Macri will be there. Justin Henderson in the 69K will be there. I just talked to Dad today.
Yep.
They were waiting to pick up their motor, getting refreshed, and then they'll be heading down probably real early Wednesday morning, I'm guessing. Oh, and I just saw Jacob Allen is running the third Shark Racing car in Charlotte.
Okay. That'll be interesting for sure. So yeah, there's a ton of people, and I'm sure there'll be more that randomly show up too. Because why not? You're at the last race of the year, so might as well. I bet you'll see some of the All-Stars make the trip too.
I would think. I'm sure you're going to see Zeb and
Sunshine,
and
you might see Kerry Madsen there. And
yeah.
Shoot, you might even see Kerry's brother E in there. I mean, he might come. But yeah, because all the championship races for the tracks are over, so why not just go? Oh, Rico will be there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume Larson is running for a championship. He will not run any.
What's that?
I said I'm going to assume since Larson's running for a championship, he won't.
No, you're not going to see him. No, he hasn't the last couple years, anyways. He was knocked out last year the same week, and he still didn't race in it. But no, he's dialed in to get this one. I mean, this one kind of means a lot to him, even though he'll say he likes the sprint car way more, but. This one is, I mean, it means a lot to win a NASCAR championship, and he knows that.
Oh, yeah.
And after the too many close calls he's had with missing stuff after racing and the dirt racing, don't want to jinx anything with that. But all right,
Hunter Schoenberg is running Alex Bowman's car down there. I did see that.
Oh, okay. He's been racing every damn car this year.
Yeah.
All right, 100% will be there too. So yeah, I might have to make my way around and see some of these guys, and definitely be cool to see for sure. So it's that time of the show to make our picks for the Outlaws. We're just going to do the Saturday night, the main one, because we don't obviously know who's going to race each race or whatever, and I've picked races where in a regular race where people don't show up. So 50 points between Brad Sweet and David Gravel for the championship. Brad Sweet is looking for, I think it's his 5th in a row, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe you're right.
And that is, that's insane, especially this state of dirt racing and sprint car racing and how close these drivers are in talent. It's not like the old days where Steve Kinser would just whip everybody's ass.
Yeah.
This will be. I don't even think Gravel's ever won a championship.
I don't believe so.
He's hungry for one. It's just those two. I mean, Macedo had too much bad luck at the last one. He's pretty much knocked out of it. So, I'm excited to see it. So, who are you looking for to win not just the race, but also the championship as well?
All right, we talked about the winner of the race earlier, and like I said, it's going to be super, super slick. I am going to go with Donnie Schatz to win the race. I think the point battle does get very close, but I do believe Brad Sweet will hang on to win his 5th title. But I think it's probably going to be less than 20, around 20-point spread when it's all said and done. I think Gravel probably beats Sweet a little bit in this race just because he has to. Maybe, I'm thinking maybe in my mind, which means nothing, Sweet may not take any unnecessary chances,
You're thinking more of like try racing to not lose the champion instead of just
exactly.
win the championship.
Say he needs to run, I don't know what it would be. Say if he has to run top 10 or whatever, and you might see him running a solid top 5 where Gravel's just ballsing that thing off the wall trying to win the race. So
well, see, and I don't know how much that there's like bonus points available for the finale, like there is in like drag racing and their finale race. So But I'm gonna make my pick simple. Brad Sweet to win both of them. What? Just
Why not?
yeah, just no question marks. No, just to finish off the season on a high note. Championship and the race at the same time doesn't always happen, and it wouldn't surprise me if David Gravel comes up in second.
Yeah.
So
they seem like they can't get away from each other.
They cannot. So that is it for our predictions for dirt racing this year. So obviously we'll talk about it next week, but that is our final prediction for a dirt race this year. And now to get on to the final prediction for our 3 NASCAR series for this weekend. As we always do, we preview the truck race, and then we'll go into the Xfinity race, and then obviously the Cup race. The trucks, they put on some good races the last couple ones. I'll give it to them. And they usually put on a pretty decent race at Phoenix, and I think you'll see a lot of bumping and banging.
I agree.
I'm excited to see what they do. If I'm not mistaken, this is Friday night. Let me see. I think the truck race is Friday night. Holy God, it's late. Oh, damn. I'm definitely not going to see this one. I'm going to be sleeping. It's at 10 o'clock at night on Friday, which, I mean, Phoenix is 3 hours behind. So, I mean, it's 7 out there. But, yeah, I mean, it's night race. Not even starting in the day. And
that's stupid TV-wise because nobody's going to tune in to watch that Friday.
And everybody say, oh, it's on 150 miles. Yeah, but it's a truck series. It might last 5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got the championship right there. And let me pull up the final 4. I know it's Corey Heim, I believe.
Carson Hocevar.
Yeah. Hold on.
Is it Grant Enfinger?
Yes. Butterfinger. And come here, where are you?
I forget the 4th one.
Why can't I find you? NASCAR's terrible. Their site is the worst. There we go. So, Corey Heim, Carson Hocevar, Ben Rhodes, and Grant Enfinger.
Okay.
Ben Rhodes, like in my mind, I just couldn't spit it out. Hocevar's got the momentum. He's been the most consistent of the last 5-6 races.
I think running the Cup car has helped that a lot. I think maybe he kind of learned some patience and this and that just from having to run longer races.
Is there anything you want to preview before going into our picks? Are you ready to go into our picks for the?
Yeah, let's just go to the picks. We
don't know a whole lot about trucks, but at least we try. We try.
It's kind of now. It would not surprise me that the winner of the race is not one of the final 4 drivers. So if you don't know how, it wouldn't surprise me in the trucks. I believe Xfinity and Cup, the winner will be the champion. But the trucks, I could easily see somebody winning. So if you're unfamiliar how this works, you got 4 drivers. Whoever beats the other 3 is the champion. You could run 30th through 33rd. You're the champion. Yeah.
I think that it's going to come from one of the 4 as the winner, and I think you're going to see an overtime finish. And I think you're going to see a lot of bumping and banging. And whoever starts first and second on that final restart, I don't think they'll finish the race. And I think you'll see somebody that's been kind of buying his time sneak under and get the win. So use my logic, I got my pick. But who are you picking for the Truck Series championship / race?
Well, I'm going to just go with the one pick, and we're going to assume that he wins them both. And this guy, I think he was slightly under the radar most of the year. I know he picked up a couple wins, and they get to the final 4. But I got Grant Enfinger winning this one and the championship.
Yeah, I kind of, my logic, I was like, he could be one of those that sneaks by and buys his time too. I just really like this guy to win the championship this year. It's basically been a career year for him, just in general in racing, just getting opportunities in the Cup race. I'm going for Carson Hocevar for the championship in the Truck Series.
I literally just changed my mind right before you asked me, so that's.
Well, I was between the 2 Chevys, honestly, Grant Enfinger and Carson. So, it was. I was torn between those 2. Corey Haim's let me down a lot lately, so
yeah.
I don't think I picked Ben Rhodes, but He'd probably wreck if I picked him anyway. So we'll see. Probably what's going to happen is that Carson Hocevar and Corey Heim are going to be in that final restart, wreck each other. The Brandon Figure comes up and wins it because that's just how my damn picks have been this year. So moving on to the Xfinity Series now. This is coming off the best Xfinity race by far, especially finish. Well, that's not a whole race, but the best finish of the year.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Xfinity Series. 2 junior motorsports drivers got an opportunity to do it. One has been trying for so damn long, would be the fan favorite to win it. One, he's not even old enough to drink. And John Hunter Nemechek is probably the favorite, been the favorite since the drop of the green flag at Daytona. And Cole Custer, he's won an Xfinity championship before. Can't ever count him out either.
Yeah, it's as in my mind, I think Sam Mayer is probably the least likely to win that. Just, and he'll go out and prove me wrong, which is cool. That'd be awesome to see a 20-year-old win the championship. I'm thinking just with him, with the Cup experience that Cole Custer has, I think that may give him a slight edge. I'm going to go with Cole Custer beating Nemechek. As much as I would love to see Justin Allgaier, I mean, I'm going to be cheering for Justin Allgaier. I mean, that would be a huge fan thing. The guy's tried for so long. He's very humble. He's appreciative of everything he's got. I would love to see him win the championship.
Yeah, I'm the same boat, but I'm not picking Cole Custer. I'm picking the other guy. Back-to-back championship wins for Joe Gibbs. The Toyotas are always fast at Phoenix, and that team is a very, very good team as well. I can't go against John Hunter to win the championship.
Yeah, I mean, just they got there. Those 4 got there for a reason. I mean, they've been on the top of their game for you got to be there the whole season to get into it. So, and even Sam Mayer coming on late, picking up a few of those wins, that probably surprised a lot of people throughout the year.
Well, the time has come for the big one, and again, Larson is obviously who we're rooting for.
Yeah,
can't tell. And they've done it before. And like you were saying with Cole Custer, they've been there, done that. He's had and Cole Custer's had experience in the Cup Series. So obviously Larson, probably the most talented racer they have in the Final Four. You can make the argument Christopher Bell's right there too. He can race pretty much every damn thing too. This is tough, and you never know what you can get at Phoenix, and you don't have to have the fastest car to win at Phoenix, as we've seen before.
Yeah. And I'm not going to pick Larson because I'm not going to jinx him, but yeah, you're right. That's who we'd like to
I don't think you have a jinx. I have the jinx.
Well, Larson has a habit of being the fastest car and then mentally screwing up. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but for my pick, we talked about earlier, he's got all the momentum going. It looked just like his teammate Joey Logano last year. I got Ryan Blaney winning both of them. It's also Mom's pick. She came up and right off the bat, she said Ryan Blaney. And I think that would be a very popular win. I would, and like you said, I wouldn't be upset for any of those 4 to win.
No. Yeah, damn not. I am not picking Larson. That's not happening.
I honestly, just the last, being they were not that good the Chevys were not that good at Martinsville, and Phoenix is another flat track that race is kind of small. It's a mile.
Well, the thing you always see
very fast.
One thing you see every single year, though, the Final Four is always going to be pretty much the top 4 all race long. That's just how it always is.
Yeah, they can't get away from each other.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down to pit crew, and honestly, this pit crew is one of the best ones that are going to use all their resources because this is the only driver in that on that team left, that whole entire organization. I'm going a little bit shot in the dark. I am picking Christopher Bell for the NASCAR Cup Series championship.
Not sure.
And it's going to be a Toyota sweep.
Very, very dark shot there, but.
No, I mean, I don't think any of them's just out of left field. I mean, they all have got a very good shot to win it.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, we were saying William Byron was probably the favorite, and
I think that's the least
struggled.
favorite. I think that's the least favorite at this point.
I'd agree with that.
For whatever reason, they just kind of fallen off, and but I think it's going to be a fantastic race. I think it's going to take a lot of strategy. I think it's going to be a lot of thinking on these teams, and I mean, I could definitely see Larson getting it done because Cliff Daniels is, in my opinion, the best crew chief there is.
Yeah. And a lot of this can come down to just qualifying and pit selection.
Very well could. Larson, I think, had the first stall, if I'm not mistaken, when he won the championship, and they got off pit road before everybody to win that thing.
Yeah, that could be huge. It's also you miss it in qualifying, you get kind of a shitty pit selection, and gaining spots against the front runners can be very difficult.
Well, that's the thing that's going to suck this week, though, is the championship race is on the same time as the Eagles and Cowboys games. So that's going to look like a damn sports bar up in here when I have everything on. So we will be flipping back and forth, and that's for sure, and keeping up with a little bit of everything. But that does it for today, everybody. So make sure you hit that like, subscribe, that little bell to notify you any of new episodes. Working on some potential big guests, especially going into the next season when we start everything off. So make sure you keep sharing it, following it anywhere you get your podcast and social media, and we'll keep this thing rolling here in a few months.
Yeah, and those watching, leave your championship picks in the comments and see who gets it right.
And I'm going to send some posts out here on a bunch of things too. So yeah, make sure you look at that too, and we'll see what happens. We'll be back at it again next week to go over everything that happened in Phoenix and in the Outlaws, and then preview the final championship race that we have to do, which is the race for the drag racing championship next week. So till then, Dad, we'll see you then.
Alrighty. Bye, everybody.